What's up, this is the Crypto Harvest, where you and I can harvest as much crypto as possible. So I want to tell you guys about one of my favorite coins, Substratum. Now, I believe that this is probably one of the best coins in the crypto market. And when we're talking about cryptocurrencies that are definitely going to probably be making it in the very long run, I really feel Substratum is definitely going to be one of them. Right now, they technically don't have a product that's released, but they do have a beta that's released of the product of what they're trying to send to the public. So basically what Substratum is trying to do is make a Tor browser, VPN, peer-to-peer network, and web hosting service all fused together into one system. Now, if you guys can't really wrap your head around that, I'll explain a little bit about that later and some pictures that I drew up, but Substratum is basically just going to be like one of the greatest things that society has ever seen towards the internet. Like, I can technically wrap my head around it, but to explain it is really hard to explain. That's why I did some diagrams. So let's take a quick look at their white paper, and I'm going to show you exactly why. Okay, so my internet is just kind of messing up right now. Okay, so let's take a look at their white paper real quick. There we go. Okay, so this is a quintessential example of what I said earlier, that it does not matter how many pages a white paper has, because it only has 11 pages, but what I can say is that this is probably one of the most ambitious projects that are being done on Earth right now. So I'm going to give you an example of, well, I'm going to show you guys a diagram of what each of the things that I talked about was, okay? So this is how a Tor runs, right? Now, I'm going to make this very simplified. I'm not going to go into detail, and you know, for you guys that know exactly what all these things are, like, you probably go like, oh my god, that's not exactly what it is, but you know, I'm gonna make it really simple, guys. Make it real simple. Okay, so a Tor browser essentially works like this. So this is you right here, right? And what you're going to do is, let's say you're requesting information from one place, and let's say you're trying to, I don't know, go to Facebook, right? So you send your request to this guy, but then this guy then sends a request to this guy, and then this guy to this guy, then this guy to this guy, to this exit node over here. And now it gets the information. So now this guy says, okay, I got the info. So I'm going to send it back to this guy, and to this guy, to this guy. And then he sends it back to you. Now, it's not exactly in the exact reverse order of which was sent. He might take this information and then go to this guy, and then this guy to this guy, and then him, and then you, okay? So that's essentially how a Tor works. So if you're wondering what's the point of that, basically that obfuscates your IP address, and it makes you pretty much completely anonymous. So similar, it's not similar to a VPN, but like right now my IP is 173.209.60.44, right? So this computer would know that that's my IP, but then this computer won't know that. It'll only know the IP of this guy over here, and then this guy would only know the IP of this guy, and then because everything is bouncing around all over the place, nobody knows who's who, right? So that's basically how a Tor works. So now we have a VPN. Now VPNs are essentially, this is the main VPN server, right? And this is also a main VPN server. So as you can see right now, I'm in Canada. Obviously I'm not in Canada, but so my IP is 173, etc., right? So what this computer is going to think is that my IP is 173, etc., because what I'm doing is requesting information, but I'm tunneling through a VPN, and then the VPN is then taking that request that I'm sending and asking for, let's say, Facebook information, and then Facebook then sends the information back to this guy, the VPN, and then the VPN sends the information back to me. So it's kind of like going on the internet with a condom. That's basically what a VPN is. But you can always poke holes in condoms, so it's not necessarily safe. And the problem with VPNs is that they're centralized systems. So let's say somebody said, okay, we don't like what you're doing, so we're gonna go ask Nord, where, what happened and where you sent all your information and whatnot. So Nord in particular, they don't keep any logs of any of the activity that's going on in the network, but maybe they do, maybe they don't. I mean, they say they don't, but the fact that that's a question mark really is, part of the problem, which is something that Substratum also solves. Now, peer-to-peer. So let's say you're uploading or downloading something. Let's say you're trying to download, I don't know, the Pokemon theme song, right? So instead of just going to one server, right? You're going to split. Okay. So you're probably wondering, how does it make it faster if you're just like splitting it between 4 people, because it's kind of like, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Well, it makes it faster because it reduces friction. Okay, so let's say this guy has a piece of the first 1 minute of the Pokemon theme song. This guy has the second minute, this guy the third, this guy the fourth, right? So instead of getting all that information from one guy, right, and using as much energy as possible to download that information, you're splitting up all that information between each other, right? Because it's peer-to-peer, right? You might also have some Pokemon stuff, I don't know, right? But basically how it works, if let's say you're trying to download the Pokemon theme song, you're downloading it from everyone at once. So you're using the power from this server, this server, this server, this server, and you're bringing all into one area. So instead of downloading at 1 megabit per second, now you're downloading at 4 megabits per second, right? And peer-to-peer doesn't have to be any centralized area. It can be, it's basically what a torrent is. So a torrent is a peer-to-peer network. And it could be you, the guy next door, anybody that has any of the information, and they're uploading and downloading and sending and receiving between each other. Now, a web host, basically like GoDaddy or HostGator, if you have a website that you're running, you're hosting it on a huge web server, and this is just you connecting to that web server. Now, this is just you, but of course there's millions of other people that are also connecting to these same web servers, which is why, they pretty much have server farms so that they can manage all that traffic and then serve all the people that are hosting websites on their platform, etc., etc. That's pretty cut and dry and simple. Now, Substratum, this is where it gets, well, I'm not gonna say it gets complicated, but one thing for sure, I wasn't gonna draw all those goddamn lines. Now, here is where Substratum is cool, okay? How Substratum works is that everybody is running a node, right? Now, you technically don't need to run a node in order to connect to the Substratum network, right? Well, it's not technically, you don't need a node in order to connect to the Substratum network. But for people that run nodes on the Substratum network, they are rewarded tokens, essentially like master nodes. Now, it's not like a master node in the general sense of what you're probably used to from hearing everybody else. They have different ways in which they reward people. So one way is they reward people based on uptime, based if they're running their node in risky areas such as Russia or China. Let's see. There's many different ways. Oh, another one is how many Substratum tokens you have. So if you have a lot of Substratum, then you're also awarded for having a lot of Substratum because you're heavily invested. So it incentivizes people to hodl Substratum. It also incentivizes people to run the Substratum nodes. Now, you're wondering, how does all this work? Like, how does it make it like a Tor, a VPN, peer-to-peer, and a web host? So, I don't know if I should explain. Yeah, I'm just gonna, let's make it easy. So, Tor, sending and receiving information and flipping between each other. This is like Tor on steroids, okay? So you're just sending and receiving information and it acts as a Tor network. Now, it doesn't work exactly like Tor because Substratum has a different protocol than Tor, but it's... Okay, by the way, Tor is also very specific in the way that it functions, and you know a Tor packet when you see it. So in the Substratum network, it doesn't necessarily work that way. It works where it only knows information, like, let's say this guy over here. It only knows information that's coming from this guy, and this guy. But it doesn't know information coming from this guy, and this guy. So it only takes packets of information that this guy gets, right? But in order for this guy to then make a whole sum, he needs information from this guy, and this guy. But he doesn't know what's coming from this guy, this guy, this guy. and so forth and so on, right? And then the same thing for this one. He doesn't know what's coming from this, etc., etc. So it creates a trustless system of information that's being sent and received between the entire peer-to-peer network. So if somebody just tried to come in and say, let me get to this one guy to see what that information is, they won't be able to understand what it is, because it'll just be a jumbled mess, because they won't be able to access the full data packet, because this person that's running the Substratum node doesn't have all the information that's necessary, because he doesn't know everything, because he needs to connect. Well, he doesn't, because everything is connected to each other, which also goes back to peer-to-peer, right? This is, again, peer-to-peer on steroids, all right? So not only is it like a Tor, but it's also like a peer-to-peer. Then it's just insane. Now, the VPN part, instead of relying on a centralized server where it's telling you, okay, now we're going to do the whole filter thing, with Substratum, you just send information to this node over here, and it's just like, oh, okay, like I don't even need to know who you are, right? And it just says peer-to-peer, let's go. So it says, hey, I want to request, this guy is requesting Facebook, right? So it says, okay, give me Facebook. So it then relays it doesn't relay to all the peers in the network. It just relays to like a pocket of peers within a certain area. I mean, because, you know, that makes sense, right? So it relays to a pocket of peers within the area, and then boom, you get Facebook at lightning speed, right? So you don't get Facebook just from this one guy, you get Facebook from this guy, 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 etc. Right? So that just makes Substratum absolutely amazing. And once again, so this token right here, right? You get paid, right? If you're running a Substratum node, you get paid. And it's very easy to set up a Substratum node, because the way that they're designing it, they're making it where it's very easy to use, very easy to connect to, and you don't have to be a computer scientist to understand how to use Substratum. So that's what's amazing. Now the web hosting part. This part is pretty hard to explain, because I'm just gonna make this real simple, okay? I know I'm probably gonna butcher the hell out of this, but basically how this works is you can connect your website into the Substratum network, and if you want to run a website, you can run it using Substratum, and you can get paid. You can then pay the Substratum network with your Substratum, and that is also how you get paid to run. Oh man, this is so hard to explain. Basically, you can run a website on, you can host your website on the Substratum network, okay? Basically, that's what you can do. And then all these master nodes over here then get a dividend based upon the amount that you're paying the Substratum network to run your website. So that's an additional payment that the master nodes get. And you're also running on a trustless system. So it's a decentralized system, it's a trustless system. They don't even need to know who you are running on the Substratum network. They don't even need to know who you are. You're just some entity that's there, and you say, hey, I'm on the sub network. What's good? And that's it. So that is, in a nutshell, what the Substratum network is. Now, I highly recommend that you guys go to their YouTube channel, because they explain this more into detail. I simplified this dynamically and greatly, because to really explain what and how the Substratum network works, like, this video would be an hour, okay? And I don't want to make this whole video an hour. That's crazy. So, all right. So now let's take a little quick look at what it's like on the market cap right now. So right now it's about $600 to $700 million market cap, and the entry point is really, really good. And as you can see, the volume really just started picking up very recently. Also, they released the beta to their Substratum network, and people are joining it. People are testing it. They don't want to release the main net out yet, because they don't want to release a bad product. I mean, that's crazy, right? So they're putting in beta testers. So, you know, you can also sign up to see if you can get in. I don't know if the sign-ins are closed, but they essentially have a working product, and it's available. Like, they have a proof of concept. You can check their video. You can check their Slack. It's great. You know, they have a whole dynamic thing going on. Like, this is one of them. Oh my God, this to me is just like, this is like a nerdgasm right now. Like, this is something I couldn't even dream of. This is actually happening. I can't even believe it. That's why this is one of my favorite coins. So if you look at the 7-day average, we can see some real good bullish action. And let's look right here. We see, if we look at the 30-minute chart, we see that this is some really good support right here, and it's extremely bullish, and people are really beginning to learn about Substratum. Honestly, I feel that this coin is criminally undervalued, and I mean, if we want to talk about like regular hype coins and whatnot, this coin, hey, I mean, I'm not saying like, you know, like go hype the coin or whatever, but this coin, like, if anybody would be talking about a hype coin, this would be definitely one of them. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that like this is a hype coin, no substance, etc. This coin has a ton of substance, okay? A ton of substance. But essentially what I'm saying is that I feel that it's criminally undervalued. That's all I'm saying. So right now, if we look over here, there was a really nice dip that took place, and it had a bit of a correction. Corrections usually go around 50% of a major uptrend, right? Not like a support uptrend, right? Like this. This is just a regular uptrend, right? But I'd say right here, this is a pretty decent price to get in, because this was the support earlier that was just newly established, and right here is now the current price. I don't know if you guys would want to get in right now at this point. Me, usually I just try to like kind of like get a little bit of a cheaper price right here, you know, especially within like some sort of moment like this, because who knows, I might be able to get in for a cheaper price. But hey, you know, I'd say, you know, just try to get in as soon as, not FOMO in as soon as possible, but try to essentially like get in as soon as possible, because this $700 million market cap, this is not going to be like this for long. And when they have their mainnet out, you can forget about it. This is definitely going to be a top 10 coin, and this is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. All right. And man, I'm just glad, like, I've been in this coin ever since like October, I believe. And this is when like they barely had any trading volume or anything like that. Man, I really believe Substratum is just going to be one of the best coins. This is amazing, and I hope you guys can kind of grasp what I was explaining with the whole illustration and whatnot. Man, if Substratum gets released and they have their whole system set in place and a lot of people start using it, this is going to be amazing. And I believe a lot of people will start using it because there's an incentive. There's a monetary incentive for people to start using it. So that's what makes this coin just absolutely fantastic. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I mean, you know, tell me how you feel. Tell me how you feel about the coin. Do you like it or dislike it? You know, like, I mean, obviously, you guys know I really like this coin. But if you guys don't like the coin, well, you know, tell me why. I mean, that'd be really interesting to hear. But I hope you got something out of it, and I hope I really turned you guys on to a great opportunity. And hey, all I can say, you know, it's up to you at the end of the day what you want to do, etc., etc. Well, glad you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.